tell you something wild. I bought a failing marina off market using seller financing and turned it into a cash flowing machine. I did it without a bank, without perfect credit, without needing a giant amount of cash. And today I'm going to show you exactly how. Not theory, not hypothetical, a real deal, real seller, a real turnaround. Let's dive in. So why did this deal even exist? I get asked all the time, Frank, how do you find deals like this? And how the hell did you find a marina? Because I'm not looking for properties, I'm looking for problems. This marina deal happened for one reason. The seller had some real pain. Here's what exactly happened. He bought it with a couple partners a few years ago, and they bailed on him. The entire loan was personally guaranteed under his name. He was running the place alone, remotely from South Carolina. The marina was only 50% occupied. Revenue wasn't enough to cover everything. He was stressed, overwhelmed, and out of options. He didn't want to lose the property, he definitely didn't want a foreclosure, and he didn't want to take on a massive tax event, and he definitely didn't want to fire sale it. What he needed was some help. Someone to take the weight off his shoulders. That's where financing comes in. Now you're asking yourself, how I bought this with seller financing? Well, seller financing works because the seller is absolutely hurting. They need a structured exit. So I created an installment agreement, which is articles for deed. Exactly what the law allows it to do. According to the contract, which is your articles for deed, purchase price was $945,000. Down payment was $307,750. We seller finance $572,250 and an interest rate of 5.6%. Monthly payments came out to be about $5,600. This structure did three things. Gave him immediate, seller relief, no foreclosure, no partner drama, no more operational stress. Gave him steady income, predictable payments, and definitely a peace of mind. Gave me control of the property today without waiting 60 to 90 days for bank approval. That's what seller financing does. It creates win-win exits for distressed owners and massive upside for me, the investor. So in reality, what I actually bought was a half-filled marina. Let me explain. When I walked the marina for the first time, only half the slips were rented. Tons of missed revenue. There was no fancy QuickBooks profit loss statement. He literally handed me a handwritten rent roll. Marketing? None. Systems? None to speak of. What branding? Did he ever consider expansion? Never. Now, there is a two-bedroom house on the property. It's renting for $1,000 a month. It wasn't a good deal. It was an investor away from being a gold mine. That's exactly what I saw. I didn't see a struggling marina. I saw unused shoreline, revenue gaps, underpricing assets. A house that could explode in income, a seller who needed a creative exit, and a business, not a building. That's why I love marinas. They're not just real estate. They're an operating business. And if you know how to run a business, your upside is unlimited. Now, here's my first big move. I added 22 new boat slips. Now, when most people buy real estate, they ask, how do I cut expenses? First thing I ask is, how can I add additional revenue? So my first move was simple. I added 22 brand new boat slips for a cost of right around $22,000. Annual revenue, first year, was $39,600 at $1,800 per slip. Let that sink in. I spent $22,000 one time and made $39,600 every single year. That's 180% cash on cash return year one. Infinite return every other year after that. Now try and show me another asset class where you can do that. You can't. Marinas are special because every slip is pure cash flow. They require minimal maintenance. Demand is extremely high, and now we have a waiting list for next year. They appreciate instantly when expanded. That's why I love boat marinas. Now let me tell you what I'm going to be doing for next year. I'm going to be adding 14 new wave runner ports. We're not done here. In 2026, I'm adding 14 new wave runner ports for a cost of right around $28,000. The first year, it's going to return me $11,900. Wave runner ports are one of the highest ROI marine additions in the industry. And just like that, boat slips, they'll produce income nearly forever. This is why business-minded investors crush in marinas. We're not waiting for appreciation. We're manufacturing it. Let me go back to that house that I talked about in the beginning of the video. It was renting for about $12,000 a year. Cute, safe, predictable, but not good enough for me. So what did I do? I turned it into an Airbnb. Year one on Airbnb, it generated $38,523. That's a 220% increase from the previous owner. Same property, same square footage, just a new strategy. That's why I always tell people, you don't need more doors. You need better operations, better vision, and a better execution. So let's recap what this one marina became. Before I showed up, it was 50% occupancy. Partners abandoned in the cellar. Marina mismanaged. No marketing. That little house is only making $12,000 a year. Seller stressed and overwhelmed. After I took it over, 22 new boat slips added, 14 waiver and reports coming soon, house incomes 3x, forced appreciation, increased NOI, stabilized systems, clear direction and growth paths, seller relieved, and financially protected. This wasn't just luck. This was problem solving and creative finance on top of business strategy. And you could do the same thing. This deal doesn't require perfect credit, huge capital, bank approval. It required understanding the seller pain, creative finance knowledge, business vision, execution, smart, broken, determined. This is my philosophy I teach my students in my mastermind. Seller financing is amazing because it gives you me flexibility in deals like this because you can legally use installment agreements or your articles for deed. You can structure flexible terms. You could take the property over fast. You bypass the banks. You help the sellers avoid massive tax events or distress. You can secure the deal by recording a memorandum for agreement. And when you combine the understanding of the law with creative finance, you unlock opportunities almost no one else sees. So why do I love buying boat marinas and seller financing? Because they check every smart, broken, determined box. Instant cash flow, expansion, appreciation, low competition, and high demand. This marina absolutely changed my life, and deals like this can change yours too. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, or you've been living under a rock and seeing me for the first time, I don't know what you're waiting for, but subscribe below for some more kick-ass real estate content.